So this is from the Academic Skills Center, California Polytechnical State University, and Emory National Debate Institute Policy Debate Manual. It's a combination of those two sources on note-taking systems. One of the things that I know someone in the class had asked, oh, I really want help on note-taking. Well, this is what we're talking about now. There are 4 major methods of note-taking. And what you may have noticed while watching debates or while being in debates, that it matters. Taking notes is very helpful, right? How do you know what to write down to answer your opponents, to make sure you write down what your partner has said, to make sure you kind of flow the debate. That's the jargon word we use in debate, is we say that we're flowing the debate. We're taking notes in the debate, and we need to have a system to be effective. So there are 4 different ways to take notes in a debate. There's the outlining method. And this is actually not just in a debate, this is outlining or note-taking in general. The outlining method is where we have information to the left, to the right, and there's maybe numbers or letters or Roman numerals, sometimes just dashes are enough. But you've probably all used outlining method to take notes on a book or to take notes for an F speech, right? There's probably an experience you have in outlining a paper as well. What we do with it is to listen and write in points in an organized pattern and space arguments a good distance apart. And then you have markings to indicate the major and minor points. So like under the example, right down here, you might have abbreviations or no abbreviations, like extrasensory perception, the definition, and then 3 kinds. And then telepathy, clairvoyance, and psychokinesis would be the 3 type of extrasensory perceptions, ESP, right? And no current research to support, right there is kind of a way that you can use to abbreviate. That might be one way to do it. You could organize it based on section. The issue I might see with that is that it might distract you from paying attention to the linear notion of the argument in the debate, because you'd be spending so much time figuring out where to categorize something that it might be hard to follow the debate. The benefit of outlining is that it doesn't you don't really, because there are 2 different ways of organizing, right? If one is this argument something that I can look at for, out organization or whatever? I almost feel like the rubric is better after the fact, and I would separate that entirely from taking notes in the debate. Because in the debate, you want to be able to completely capture what's being said. And so the challenge in debating is you have to both listen and respond. But in order to respond, you have to have a comprehensive understanding of what they're saying. So it can be challenging because in a debate, you want to get a sense of what they're saying, but you also want to be spending time preparing what they're going to say next. Okay? But outlining is kind of understandable, right? So the benefit of outlining is that you can organize ideas pretty well. You can kind of see how ideas relate to each other fairly well too. But the disadvantages is that you may not hear changes in, you may not understand like how to use it well at first. Like you may not think categorically, like think this is a subpoint under the main point. And I know that can be challenging for people too, is to figure out how ideas subdivide. And so if somebody is giving a speech that's not very well organized, it can be hard to outline that speech. So outlining isn't necessarily a great place to start if you're not good at note taking. It might be hard to do. So the second type of note taking, other than the outlining, is called the mapping method. And this is where they relate each fact idea to other facts and ideas. It's a very graphic or visual way to do it. It's hard to do with a typewriter. You'd have to kind of do this paper and pen, right? So here's an example. It's visual, it's easy to see the relationship. So again, we're looking at extrasensory perceptions as the topic, 3 types. You can really see it visually. The disadvantage, so it's great because color coding and visual, it's kind of easy to see how things relate. The disadvantage is you may have a harder time seeing major points and facts in the outlining. In the mapping. It's really good to use this type when the lecture content is heavy and well organized. So if you're a visual thinker, it's a good way to go. So this is the next method is the charting or flowing. And let's see if that one sounds familiar to you. So it's where you draw columns and label of speeches in a table. So like here is the way, if I had a 1AC, that's the first affirmative constructive, followed by the 1NC, which is the first negative constructive, the 2AC, 2NC, and so forth and so on. So this is an outline of a debate in which you have 4 constructive speeches, first affirmative constructive and the second affirmative constructive, the first negative constructive and the second negative constructive. Those would be the speeches if you're looking at the healthcare debate we had in class. We had those 4 speeches and that was it. So we almost stopped kind of after the constructives. Normally a debate would continue and have a variety of rebuttals. And so we have a first negative rebuttal, first affirmative rebuttal, second negative rebuttal, and second affirmative rebuttal. This is an 8-speech debate that you're looking at here. And so the way this chart works is you label the columns, you set it in advance. If you have an 8.5 by 11 page, you kind of take a ruler and you might do that. And as you listen to the debate, you put them into the appropriate category. This is a really great method for taking notes in a debate. It helps you track conversations and dialogues where you can maybe, instead of having to float back to the back page, right? If you think about an outlining, it's very linear. This is allowing you to both be linear and progress the debate in time across. So if content is heavy and presented very quickly, this limits the amount of time you need to edit. I don't have to move things around as much. So you have to leave space, okay? You can see the whole debate theoretically on one place, but you really probably need to use several pages. This is a great system to use, and I'd like to encourage everyone to practice using this. It can be challenging at first to kind of get used to it, but once you get used to it, it's a great way to map the debate because you can like learn to, circle certain things, and extend a line across, where you might want to go. And it's a great way to kind of visually see the debate. Kind of combines both mapping and outlining in a visual way. So note taking is really, really important part of being a good debater. You can have great ideas, but if they're not well organized on paper, it's really hard to reference them. So you can have a really good constructive, but then how do you play out the arguments in the rebuttal? You can't if you can't access them. I've been the victim of a lot of debates where I have lost the debate because the last rebuttal, I was super disorganized because my notes were a mess. They were a hot mess, and I could not figure out how to do that. The last style is called the International Quadrant Method. This is a method that's appropriate for a debate with you have multiple teams where you have like if you have 4 teams, which sometimes happens, believe it or not, you'd have 2 teams usually on 2 different sides. So you have 2 affirmative teams and 2 negative teams, which you're like, how does that work? Well, it's kind of works like the parliamentary debate method. And the reason it works is because people are on the same side, but they aren't necessarily advocating the exact same policy. An example I'll give you would be that there are multiple reasons people might be against free trade. Some people might be against free trade because they want to have more consumer protections. Some people might be against free trade because they believe in America first. Some people might be against free trade because they want environmental protections. The people who believe America first and the people who believe environmental protections are kind of uneasy alliances. They aren't necessarily the same people, right? Like when we had a big debate in the 80s and 90s about free trade, Pat Robertson, who's a super right-wing, Republican who was like America first, jobs in the US. I don't like free trade because it's going to kill American jobs. That person was on the same side as Ralph Nader, who was like, it will hurt consumer protections because all of our laws, we will be going down to the lowest common denominator and people will die from that. And that was a different group than the Sierra Club, who's like, it's going to kill dolphins. because there's not tuna safe, dolphin safe tuna coming out of Mexico. So those people would all be on the same side against free trade, but they wouldn't be arguing the same thing. And so that's kind of the idea of the 4-team debate, is that you can be on the same side as someone else, but not for the same reasons. And so that's kind of the idea. So this quadrant method looks like this, where you have columns and quadrants. So you have all the people who are on this side who are advocating, like the Ralph Nader people might be up here at the top part of the quadrant. And then the Pat Robertson people would be down here advocating free trade is bad. And then over here, you'd have a bunch of people saying why free trade is good. And they'd be maybe different arguments. So this is like, it reduces the amount of writing necessary. Like you really crystallize ideas to like just the most important points. And it's a great way to see the big picture, but you lose a lot of detail. That's the disadvantage. And it's really hard to get used to the system, especially if you are more likely to think linearly or sequentially, or you want to see how each idea relates to each other. But it's good to use if you want to just get the main ideas on the flow. If you're not going to write a lot of details, maybe you don't write really quickly, or maybe you just want to get the most important points. And if you want to get the big picture, it's a great way to take notes. So those are 4 styles of note taking. And, you know, sometimes I go back and forth about presenting this information before you've had a debate. And ultimately, I usually wait until after the first debate, because what I found about debating is that it's a very organic and experiential learning experience to learn how to debate. It's hard to get from like a textbook. The frustration is part of the learning process, unfortunately, when it comes to note taking. So I'd like you to pick a method that you're going to use for the next debate. I'd like it to be the flow chart. I'd like you to try flowing. But if that doesn't work for you, then pick something else. But you're going to turn in your notes. Everyone's going to turn in their notes for the next debate.